All right, everybody, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, a couple of altcoins, but really the main event today is pretty much BTC, right? So reason being, obviously, Bitcoin runs the market, so to speak. So last night, like I was saying, we did have a kind of a pop-up live stream about 11 p.m. to or maybe it was 9:30, 10 p.m. to like midnight. It was 2 or 3 hours, and it was right as we were coming into this range low, right? So this is what we've been looking for. I've been covering this substantially especially these levels right here. These 5 lines roughly have been on this screen for the last 22 days now that we've been looking to punch through, hold this support, continue higher. We also knew where we would get that rejection. Not that we would get a rejection, but if we got the rejection up here, then that would gonna relatively lead us back into the point of control and then ultimately the range lows, right? So just kind of dancing through this whole scenario once again, right? Previous to this run up right here, when we were trading down here at the 33K, which is when we came down actually into this previous volume target, this monthly NPOC, which was a pretty big level right here. We'd still have the weekly right below it that has not been tapped. So that's 32,200, right? So I bring that up for a reason here in a minute, not to be concerned with it too much at the moment. But we were trading in this area, right? This golden pocket is current, so don't get wrapped up in that one for now. But we were traveling in here. We really wanted to see these levels regained, and this was pretty much the 2-year key level area right here. This is going to enter us back into the previous yearly range. This was going to, pretty much shoot us into this previous range as well. All things, basically to allow us to level up from here was basically right here between $39,000 and $41,000. So with that being said, we obviously pushed through it. So I'm going to clear this up a little bit. I labeled these a little bit nicer for you so I don't have to keep saying what RL and RH were standing for. But you got the range low, our current range low, and our current range high right here. So obviously we had a deviation right here from the current range. However, when we were living in this price action, this was actually a previous range from last year that we were actually going through that we almost came down and tapped the lows at. And essentially when you re-enter these ranges, right, you find acceptance back in. We got back into this current range that we've been building out, held the lows right here, and off we go. And from here, you hold the lows and you essentially have a natural target at the point of control, which in this case was right here, this white line, about 42K. Rarely do you see just a missile straight to it, but that's what we got. And we consolidated right under resistance, which is usually indicative of a move higher in the short term. What we got from there, from here you target the range highs. Now the range high is going to be a major resistance, right? Just as your range low, which we just came into, is going to be major support. Can they be broken? Absolutely, right? Like anything else. And then you kind of have to plan in your moves from there. So we were looking for this range high, and essentially we got a couple wicks past it, but we did get rejected ultimately. What we were looking for continuation was going to be to reclaim this range high, about $45,000. Now at the same token, right, what did everybody else pay attention for at this level? Well, you had that inverse head and shoulders, right, that was cooking up over here. However you wanted to play this, draw this out if you were looking at it. And at the time, right, we were coming into range high, which most people probably weren't aware of. And looking at this could have played out for sure. Has a target of like 58K, whatever. Obviously, there's other major levels in between here. But most people were looking for this and anticipating this and getting kind of antsy and buying in before this actually broke out and confirmed. And that's the key to these patterns, is that, while this was, totally an option here that this could have broke out, you really want to wait till this neckline is broken and you got some closures, 4 hours at least, and then you get a retest of the neckline and then you continue higher from there. That's a lot of problems with most people, is that they just see this kind of unfolding, get really premature buy-ins or don't really prepare otherwise, and then we get we get this move here. So I bring this up because while this could have totally played out, if you didn't have that plan to the downside, and once again, these levels that we've been watching for the last 22 days straight, and realistically been building this range out since basically the 4th of January, almost 5th of January, then you probably were in for a pretty frustrating time over the last couple days here. When in reality, what we did was we got rejected at the range highs. We came up here, we made a lower high, indicative we're going back down. Came back down to our point of control, right? Held it right over here for the most part. This was before the Valentine's Day weekend, I think. Yeah. Held it here for a minute. I know this is looks like it just kind of straight down, but this was a 4-hour candle, so we did hold this for quite a bit, maybe 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. And then that next candle opened, we broke through. So then we were looking down, right? We had the CME futures gap in this region, about 40,500, 40,700. We talked about how that would be an area where many would probably assume that would be the low, probably load up on some longs, whatever. To me, because of this 2-year key level being right below it, we at least saw this one coming in. And the fact that it was under 40K, would have been kind of a mind blower, right? To kind of just shake everybody up and shake them out, break that 40K, level there. And from here, even, we lost that. And then we basically came up and we back tested our doomsday area. Right, came up, got the back test, bearish retest right here, and shot down. And ultimately now we've made it all the way back to the range low. So we had a volume target right here, this WNPOC, which is no longer an NPOC, but we had that mapped out. And then last night, like I said, on our live stream, right then and there live, we had the range low coming in. We were watching for the reaction here. Obviously, we've gotten the bounce. We had bullish divergence coming into this. Last night we had this descent, lower lows coming in on the price action here, right? We had higher lows coming in on the RSI. So once again, we were watching this live last night. We were coming right into this range low. So at the time, last night we were living out this red candle right here. While like I said, watching it unfold live. And you're getting slight wicks below, is a little bit of a nail biter, I'm sure, for most. But, we had been planning on this region being met for at least this whole month so far, right? So, and once again, it's not that it had to happen, but if it, we got that rejection at the range high, and essentially you get that, it's very, very, in a simplest sense, granted, it doesn't always have to come all the way back down, but essentially you launch from those lows. Essentially, you're targeting the range highs. You get rejected at the range highs, and ultimately, you're targeting the range lows, right? These two areas would be the main areas to get involved with. We even went over a possible trade idea last night. Like I said, people were, somebody was asking me how you could make money on this, and it was a pretty simple idea, right? You could have risked 1%, and whether that's on leverage or whether that's on spot, however you wanted to do it. But when you get down to these range lows, granted, this is the thing, nobody really wants to get excited until you see this. Now it's like, oh, okay, now we're heading back up. Now things are good and clear. When in reality, now you're gotten away from this range low. This range low would have been the ideal area to get involved, right? And that could mean a multitude of things, whatever your strategy is based on. If you're looking at DCA, if you're looking to just take a short-term swing trade on spot, if you're looking to leverage trade, or even if you're just looking to have an idea of where the market is sitting right now as far as support, so you don't panic sell literally at the worst time. And right here, you would essentially have put a stop loss right below this previous low, and at this range low, that would have been about less than 1%. Honestly, you could have risked 1% and had this little move here, which in the sense of leverage, it would have been a great move. It's about a 4% move to the upside, right? Granted, we could still come down from here. But if we continue on from here and we take out this monthly open, which is kind of that line in the sand, so to speak, to the upside, we got the range low to the downside, and really 36,200, our previous low. Because all that we've really done here is exactly what we've been going over, right? Is that we could come all the way back down to this range low, and essentially, right, you got your low, you got a high, you got a higher low, you got a higher high, and realistically, it's a little ugly, but we've really got a higher low coming in here, right? So if we were to come back through here, take out this previous high, then this uptrend would be intact, right? So don't know if that's going to happen yet. We got a lot of headway above us, right? So that's kind of the idea to the upside. Now to the downside, we'll get to that in a second, right? We'll go over that. I just want to finish up this little idea here for this trade. But once again, you could have risked 1%. Like when we were talking about this last night, it was like 30,000 people watching last night. But like living this out is very nerve-wracking. But at the same time, if you're risking 1%, that shouldn't really make anybody too nervous. And even on a spot trade, right? Say this goes back up to the monthly open, that'd be 4 or 5%, depending on your account size. Obviously, that could be something very beneficial. This 2-year key level up here is almost a 10% move, and this is just Bitcoin, right? Like at the same time, like, altcoins are bouncing up with this at the, the same token. We were looking at a bunch of altcoins last night as Bitcoin's coming into the range low to see how they were reacting as well. Chainlink, Dot, ETH, Quant, all of them are all coming into their, basically their range lows as well. So we'll take a look and see how those kind of fared out for the morning. Up to this, back to the point of control, which would be a major target up here. That's a 15% move from that low, and then ultimately your range high, would be a 20% move, and then that's without even leverage, right? You don't need to be a leverage trader. Most people really shouldn't either, right? And it's going to make you lose sleep and lose money. But this would have been a super decent little area to kind of give that a test run for anybody that was watching last night. And once again, not on leverage, like you just literally do that as a spot trade. And also, like, I touch on these things for the multitude of everyone, because I know some people don't have any money because everybody's in the market already or whatever the case may be. But there's, what do you get when you start seeing these fast candles to the downside? You get everybody panicking that we're just going to melt lower, which, you want to kind of have that idea of what to pay attention for, right? So losing this point of control right here was one of the bigger ones, knowing that we'd probably head lower. And this one was the other, right? So this 2-year key level right about 39.8, lost that one right there, came up, got the back test, and we were definitely, we were more than likely heading down to the range low. Now, when we lose this, though, if we lose this, so let me give you the upside scenario here, right? We've got, what do we got? Golden pocket we're punching through right now. So you want to get back above this golden pocket, this monthly open right here, right? This is basically that line in the sand, so to speak, for now, right? We want to see us hold and close above here, at least a couple 4-hourly candles for the most part. And then we start looking up, right? And we got this 2-year key level right above us, which, mind you, we punched right through all this once before, just earlier this month. So this is a major area of resistance and support. But if we get, some fast movers, this could easily be overtaken. But regardless, you want to see the monthly open overtaken, held. That's kind of step one here for the upside. And then we've got our upside, levels to look for. Ultimately, we want to break this range high up here, put in a new higher high, and then you've got, our yearly key level coming in up here at $47,000, right? That 47.7 up here. That's going to be our next major area once we break this range high. From there, you got a point of control at about 49K. You got the range high at about 50,200, and so on. But until we really get through here, right, we need to focus on where we're at. So to the downside, right, we could still come up, get rejected at this monthly open, come back down, and take out this range low. Now, if we take out this previous low over here, this 36.2, really drop down below 36K, let's just call it, right, between these areas right here, this is our previous low right here. If we do lose that, then do anticipate fully coming back down to this level right here, and ultimately you're going to be dropping back down more than likely and filling out this weekly NPOC, which is a volume target down here. We filled out this one back here. This is where we came down to from the $52,000 high, but we left that weekly right below it, about literally $800 difference. And the only time we really got to start worrying about that is when we break down past this level. So this is the case, right? This is where you can kind of plan on both scenarios here, and you plan your reactions. And a lot of people will say, oh, so it can go up and it can go down. Well, absolutely. But, for example, we've had these 5 lines in play for weeks now. So when it came down to this level, I mean, most people in the trading group at least, had an idea of how to react if they were going to take a position here or vice versa, right? Even if you just knew about it, know that you're coming into major support, because most people will start trying to sell off, right? Try to stop the bleeding, whatever the case may be. And I bring up Bitcoin, obviously, but this is in terms of altcoins as well, because if Bitcoin's coming down to these levels, then the altcoins are at those levels as well. So obviously you got to correlate all this stuff together, right? So what we are also looking at to a downside position right here, right? And this is only once if you lose the range low. The other reason we want to get back above this monthly open 38K is we're actually living right now in the previous historic range that we were actually living in down here, right? When we came back into this, there's a range from last year, right? These ranges go on, and once you come back down into them, you tend to get attracted towards their targets again, right? You got the point of control for that previous range, and then you got the range lows, range highs, same deal, right? Support and resistance come across the board. Well, this historic range that we were in back here, which was from last summer basically, is this box right here. So now it's this orange line coming across, right? Trying not to crowd this chart out too much. But you can see that's actually where we're getting some wicks right now. We're getting a slight rejection because this is coming in as resistance right now. You really want to get back out of this range, okay? We're in a little bit of a range within a range right now. I know this is our current range low right here, but this level right here, right, is this range. Getting back above this 38K is pretty crucial, right? Not only do you want to be living above the monthly open anyways, but you want to get out of this range, because if we start living in here much longer, and if we lose our current range low that's sitting right here, then we're looking at this previous historic range's point of control coming in right here at 35,800, and then ultimately the range low, which once again, look for some confluence here, which is double stacked with that weekly NPOC. Right, so that's that weekly NPOC that we left behind. So that would not be a good time. But at the same token, right, once again, having that plan in place if we do. If I look at my phone later on today, or my portfolio or tracker or whatever you got to look at, and you see that we're starting to close below 36K Bitcoin, anticipate that we're probably going to come back down and refill out this over time. Right, it could be a couple days, whatever. For example, this move down here from the range high, I guess you could really consider it from here. This took us 12 days to get from this range high all the way to the range low. So these things take some time, and vice versa, right? If we run it back to the range high, it's probably going to take us a week to get all the way back up here. But yeah, so not to super focus on these lower levels here until we get that break of 36. But if you get that, right, this is something you want to be aware of, and you don't have to feel like you have to rush towards somebody somewhere to tell you what the next levels are, right? Like, just go ahead and jot these down, because this is a big boy right here, right? This is something that probably most people aren't looking at. Most people probably weren't looking for this one either. Most people think that this was our just our CME futures gap that got filled up here. Magic Internet Money in the house, how you doing? So this is all these levels right here got some big Y behind it, right? This isn't just random pulled numbers here. And then obviously we got this is the doomsday level, right? If these levels don't hold, and I guess if WW3 breaks out and everything goes melting down from that news, then we'd be looking to pretty much load the truck right here. But that's neither here nor there until we break 36K, right? So nothing to get too worked up about. Really got to shove those emotions aside. All right, but yeah. So once again, like I said, you wouldn't even know that we're coming in and getting these wicks right here off of that previous range high, right? That's what we're coming into, which is like almost hidden at the moment. So big deal is to get above this monthly open. I guess right now you'd consider this the golden pocket that we're coming into as well, right? So a lot of overhead right here that we're coming into. Possible 33K. Yeah, if you just tuned in, we just went over that idea there that if we do lose 36,000, that we probably are going to head back down to the $32,000 level. But losing 36,000 on a closing basis, right? So just very similar to this, right? If you were looking up here and you were regaining this level, right? You're looking to break through this range high and head higher. This wick is not what you want to see, right? You want to see an 4-hour candle closure, really a daily closure. You want to see on a closing basis these levels broken and held. So wicks, that's why you want to wait it out, right? Last night, this was such a great example. I didn't record it, which is actually I did record it on TikTok, so maybe I'll post it on YouTube. It's just gonna be the TikTok version though, not the full screen. But we recorded this live, and it was a really great example. Because we were living out this red candle, right as everybody's getting super worried and afraid. Most people probably were not aware we're sitting right at like major support right at the range low, right? You're just looking at 30, whatever the price action was, right? 36.6, which almost holds no weight. If you come across the board, I could be wrong, I didn't even really look at it yet, but let's see how 36.6 holds up. I mean, I guess it's the high from over here last year for a moment, but that's pretty much it. So you would probably imagine that really wouldn't hold for no other reason, right? So once again, this is actually where we got that reaction. We were watching this live last night. This was actually like 8 hours later, so we didn't get too many green candles live right there. But yeah, you can see how, this is what you want to see. I mean, right now we're really close, right? You can take out this monthly open. That's what you want to start. Obviously, we'd want to come back up and make a higher high than this level right here to start really getting excited. On top of that, you'd be taking out your 24, 2-year key level right there. So you get back above some pretty big resistance. And we'd kind of be making our way. So you really just got to take it level by level, so to speak, but have your plans in place. And whether or not your plan is to take action or just to be aware, right? A lot of people can't. A lot of people cannot do, the moves, the short terms, the selling at certain levels, especially when you're already down at a certain point, because you don't want to risk it just turning around on you, and that's fine. But at least be mentally aware that we could go down to 32K. And that's okay, right? There's a reason behind it. There's a volume target there that has not been met, that the market is more than likely going to shoot down to, and that's just the difference, right? It's just kind of having that little bit of a mental clarity. So even if you can't actively be maneuvering your portfolio based on this information, and you shouldn't be just based on my information, right? Do your own research, of course, but this is what I'm looking for. And once again, in the group, right, Magic Internet Money, he's in the house there. So if you guys aren't following him, make sure to give him a follow. Great analyst, great trader. The two of us run the leading crypto Discord server, right? And we teach everybody how to identify this stuff, right? So if you are interested in figuring out how we identify these ranges, point of controls, key levels, all these things, all the tools and resources we use, you got me and him, two analysts that are in there 24/7. I'm posting all my altcoin updates right here, Bitcoin updates here. We do exclusive members only market updates, which tomorrow we're having our next one. If anybody hasn't watched Sunday night walked you straight into this move. All right. And then the previous Wednesday walked you straight into the move before that. So if you don't do anything else in this trading group, but watch the 2 weekly live streams, it's about 4 hours a week, right? 2 hours on Wednesday, 2 hours on Sunday. Watch the recording back. If you don't do anything but watch those two, you'd be ahead of the 90% of the curve for sure. We got an academy here where we have about 20 videos and counting, where we go over step by step. If you know nothing about trading this market, looking at charts, building a chart, this is going to walk you through step by step in a fashion that you just won't get anywhere else. We've also got an area where you can post your charts, right? So this is where members are posting their charts. We got a ton of really great traders in here from across the world that are constantly putting in some really great charts here for anybody. So if for some reason Magic and I aren't around, you're going to have a ton of others putting up some levels for you here. Magic does chime in there quite often as the police officer. Make sure you're talking about charts only. We got Max here too. Now this is a big deal, right? This is for anybody that has heard about order flow, open interest. This is something that we are bringing to the table that most others are not. So order flow is something we're going to unleash to the group here in a few days, and this is a extremely helpful tool, indicator, however you want to look at it, right? Like it's a huge tool and resource that most people aren't looking for. It's giving you live time market information, not lagging indicators like RSI and this and that. This is actual money coming into the market, where it's going, how it's moving. Very indicative of how certain things can happen, right? So it's a really big context clue on some of the areas when you come into them. Last night, for example, on our live stream, we were coming into this low right here, right? You could pull up the order flow and the open interest, and you could see that we had a bunch of longs actually coming in right here. So that and that's real money. That's not just like longs coming in for a squeeze. This is just actual money coming into the market right at the range low, right? You could see that clear as day. Actual market orders getting fulfilled. So pretty interesting stuff, right? It's very useful in helping you determine your strategy. So if anybody's interested in learning that, like I said, links in my bio. And we'll take a look at ETH now, right? So BTC, like I said, last night we were watching this unfold, and at the same time we were looking at a couple of altcoins to see how they were reacting at the same time. As Bitcoin came down into this range low support, we had ETH coming down, poking a little bit below this golden pocket, right? Last night we were calling it the hot pocket for some reason. And this is just a really good example too, right? So it's like where you don't want to get super greedy, waiting for these exact next levels, right? Granted, we could still roll over, right? This is not the out of the woods yet. same deal as Bitcoin is you want to reclaim this monthly open up here. Losing this golden pocket, right? You could have seen this once again. We were talking about this live last night, and it's not more than $100. It was a 3% move. It was $100, which would have taken you down to the point of control right here, which at the time, it just depends on your strategy at that, right? If you had some dry powder on the side, if you're looking to re-enter the market, these levels, while Bitcoin was coming into major support, also Ethereum coming into, right? It was holding this golden pocket a little bit. Obviously, it lost it for a minute, but you want to, you don't want to be aiming only for the low of the low, right? On a lot of these, because a lot of times you might miss it. And even if you don't, right? Even if you did get in here, for example, and it did drop that extra $100, you're down 3% for a minute. Unless you're in a leverage trade, obviously that's a different story. But it's just it's those times when you want to have that plan in place, because when these levels got hit, I was out of the house yesterday when Bitcoin's dropping into $37,000, and it was immediately just jumped into my Bybit account, right? Like I just knew what I was waiting on. No panic, no stress. We've had some of the biggest moves to the downside here in the last few weeks, and everybody in the trading group, you barely even hear a peep. It's just everybody's so well prepared for it, and depending on how you're doing your own strategy, right? So it's not even like that it's a one size fits all. I mean, it's just, even if you're just mentally aware that, hey, we lost certain key levels, we're going down. You could say it's the news, you could say it's this, and that's just in my opinion, a very lazy way to kind of indicate something, but that's fine. But that's, whatever, that's however you want to go with it. And of course, you can correlate news and all this all over the place, and that's an argument for another day, I'm sure. But to me, I could tell you, I know 0% about what's, aside from obviously what I catch from other, just being active on Twitter and this and that, and seeing what other people are talking about. But I could tell you I've not paid 1% of attention to any kind of global news, any kind of world conflict going on, and the levels remain the same, right? So it's a very, very hard thing for most people to digest, that idea. And that's, and if you are, and I guess I shouldn't have said that's a lazy way, because like I said, that there's fundamentals and there's technicals, and whichever one you choose to kind of go off of, obviously you're going to be stronger than the one you focus on. I don't focus on fundamentals, so I guess I'm not strong there. So I do take, I guess that back in the sense, but it's just, that doesn't, I don't look at the news at all, and we still arrive at the same conclusion. I guess I should say that. Okay, so anyways, for ETH, right? So what you want to see here is that we're holding this golden pocket at the moment, kind of poking through, but same deal. We really want to pay attention to Bitcoin at the moment. If we see Bitcoin dropping back down to that range low, and possibly start taking it out, obviously we these levels right here are on deck. This is about a 15 or 20% drop, though, just so you know, right? So that's implying that Bitcoin's probably going to have to eat another 8 or 10% move to the downside for ETH to drop that much, which is possible. So once again, if you start to see Bitcoin shaky, start losing those levels, then we can assume that ETH's probably going to come down here as well. But if Bitcoin does not, right, because right now so far we're hitting that bounce, we're getting that move to the upside. Really still want to see that monthly open overtaken for both Ethereum and Bitcoin. So same deal here, right? We give above 38,000 Bitcoin. You want to see us get above 2,700 Ethereum. All right, that monthly open. Realistically, you want to clear this previous high. That'd be your next little mission. But before that even comes into play, you want to see this monthly open regained at $2,700. From there, you start looking back up, right? Start looking towards this monthly key level, so on and so forth. I'm sure there's a harmonic in play right here, which I'm not even going to, attempt to pull that out right here. But so that's probably a major target comes in here regardless at about 24,000. I'm sorry, at the 24-month key level, about 2,850. But regardless, you want to see this monthly open reclaimed at $2,700 to start revisiting the upside here for ETH. Quant has been a fan favorite, right, for a couple weeks here. Quant. And another really perfect example, the live stream last night, talking about getting Quant under $100, anything under $100, and I mean that would have been a really good entry. And still we could go lower, right? So it's not like we're just completely out of the woods by any means. But Quant, right? Had our range low and our range high at about 150. Ran it past, right? Got rejected at this daily. Re-entered the range, ran it out again, lower high, right? So you're indicating that we're coming back down. Regardless, you re-enter this range, right? From upside or the downside, you get re-entry into this range. You don't break that range high. You're pretty much going back down to the range lows, right? You got a couple targets in between you. For this example, especially, we had the monthly key level right here. We got a golden pocket right here. Ultimately, we actually have a pretty big target for Quant down here at the point of control, this white level right here, which also is our monthly open at $97. So we were talking about this last night. And the same thing, not trying to get greedy, waiting for the exact low. Yeah, it's super fun when you can get that exact low. And it might still come at you, but as far as like a DCA perspective or anything like that, like look at where we came down to last night, 99 or right at 100, whatever it may be. And we've got to bounce from there, but however, we still got a lot of headway before we start looking at this as an uptrend by any means. But regardless, right, if you got in at 100, or if it comes back down to 97, right, 98, what's the difference there, right? It's $2 among friends, I guess. But Quant, unlike ETH and unlike Bitcoin, is living above that monthly open, so this is a really good sign. A couple of these altcoins are living above these monthly opens, and this is where you want to be as far as an upside continuation would go, holding as support. So $97 is that like little line in the sand, so to speak, to the downside. But for realistically, Quant could kind of continue up from here. We want to see this golden pocket pretty much taken out, which is 113, top of that box. You got a monthly key level up here at 123, and realistically, this is the big one, right? You want to get above this monthly key level. Get above this monthly key level at 124, and you're probably going right back to the range high. You clear this range high. We got the yearly open coming in. You got the yearly open coming in here at about 177. Yearly key level at 210. And I think there's something else up there, but if and that's assuming that the whole market's gonna be moving up at the same time, right? But yeah, for Quant, that's really your next level to watch out for. You want to get back above 124. Once again, we were looking at this. I don't usually do live streams late at night, but I might do some now because man, it was a party for sure. It was about 11 o'clock last night. We were jamming, but anyways, we were living out this live, right? So we were kind of walking through the emotions of this, and the same thing, right? As people were probably getting worried, probably getting panicked, right? Anybody's watching, and this is the thing. It was late, so everybody's roughly actively watching and seeing the price action move, or it's even worse when you wake up the next morning sometimes and the price action is dumped to certain whatever. Actually this morning, had you went to sleep at super early and woke back up, the price action was pretty much the same as where you would have went to bed. But if you were grinding it out at 10, 11 o'clock Eastern, which is 9 Central and 7 back on the other coast, you're kind of watching it unfold, and that's when everybody gets really antsy, right? So when realistically that would have been a really nice pickup right here, about 10% move just in the intraday. And if that does end up being the low, then you want to see that reclaim here. Then you got some Quant under $100, right? Which last time we got that opportunity was over here, January, from when we dropped down to 33K for Bitcoin. But do know that, right, if we do drop back to that level for Bitcoin, then obviously everything's going to melt to the downside too. So it's definitely a watch Bitcoin kind of moment. It really always is. But you don't need you don't need to see Bitcoin just completely rip back up to 60K, to know that you got a little bit of freedom in the market, right? The big level to watch is 38K and change, 38.2, whatever it is, right? Get above the monthly open for Bitcoin, and the altcoins are going to probably have a breather, right? You get back above this monthly open, right? Get back above this golden pocket. You get back above, currently that's that previous historic range as well, about 38K. That's the range high. You get back above all that and hold that, close it, right? 4 hours. You really want to see a daily. Realistically, you're in pretty good shape for a minute, right? It's only when we come back down, we lose this level. You lose this 36.2. And really, let's just call it 36K to be on the even side. But 36.2 is really the big one. The previous low from over here. You lose that closing basis, then yeah, we're probably going to head down to our doomsday levels. But until then, we could have a turnaround here. So, and whether that means we run it back to the range high, or you run it to the key level, we run it to the 2-year, we get rejected, and go from there. That's we'll pay attention for it. But realistically, if this runs it back though, and you get that range high, like I said, this is a 20% move out of Bitcoin, and that's going to be a monster move out of altcoins, right? The last 20% move out of Bitcoin right here essentially was like a 50-60% move across the board, and that was just for large caps. So coin, somebody was asking about Litecoin earlier. Let's see how Litecoin's looking. Would you look at that? I didn't look at Litecoin last night, which I should have, but all right, so same deal, right? Coming into key support, right, with Bitcoin. If you were probably watching this last night, right, you would have had some deviation here, right? Very small, but the same thing goes right here that we were talking about for that Bitcoin trade, which this is actually a pretty big drop. So you might, not too bad actually, but you're coming into a key level of support right here, and essentially, you could have, to go for a trade idea, you would have had, whatever the case may be, enter a spot in it. And I'll even just say spot only. You don't need to do leverage, right? I actually don't recommend leverage for most people until you can actually trade 8 or 10, decent spot trades. And these are good ways to try that out, right? And you could try with nothing. You could $20, risk 5%, make $20, whatever, and like do that 10 times. Your emotions aren't as high, and then you can kind of like, run through the whole trade, because it's going to take time. But regardless, you would enter on the, this key level right here, and yes, we could have lost it, and that's why your stop loss goes basically below this previous low, right? So it would have been 5%. So obviously that's a big stop loss for leverage, right? If you got 5x or if you got 3x or anything like that, that's going to be a big stop loss, right? Because you're talking about risking like 20-30%. 50% if you're on 10x. That's probably not the best stop loss for that. But on a spot trade, right, if you're just looking to kind of play around, play the levels here, this would have been good. You put a 5% stop loss. Even if we dropped out here a little bit, you see how we didn't fall all the way to this stop loss area. We turned around, and from here, realistically, we got some levels to watch here. Let me see what's this range that we're in. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I guess you probably would want to actually wait for the range low, but regardless, if you did enter up here, you could put that stop right below your range low. So regardless, spot trade from here though, even back to the range high, comes in, 30%. Like these altcoins they just move so massively. Obviously, they move massively to the downside as well. But yeah, these are you got Litecoin coming in, right? We're almost to the range low here for Litecoin. We are at a big yearly key level here that we may find maybe just base off of right here. Same deal goes for anything else. We want to get right back above there, that monthly open, $108. You want to see Litecoin claim that, hold it, closing basis, and then we start looking back up, right? You got a 6-month level right here. You got your range highs coming in at 136, and realistically, you get back above this yearly, about $146, and we're probably punching back upwards towards this $200 level. Obviously, that implies the entire market is picking back up again, but that's what we're looking for. But regardless, you want to see a 108 reclaimed for Litecoin for the upside. So 2 ways you could look at that too, right? Is that if you're looking to get some, and this is where a lot of people, have an issue too, is that you want to wait for some confirmation to some degree, and you could buy low here and then it go up to this level, start holding, and then you kind of have that confirmation, but you would miss out on whatever 4%, 5%. But you run the risk of this coming up, getting rejected, and just dropping lower otherwise, right? So I guess that's when you put your stop loss in place, depending on how you want to do that. But a lot of spot, if you're just opening and holding spot or dollar cost averaging, obviously you don't want to be entering at a time when we're going to be dropping another 20% possibly. So that's when you look for some of these levels to kind of get a clearer idea. And now that's all it is ideas, probabilities. Nothing's a guarantee, obviously. Let's take a look back at BTC, see how she's doing. Yeah, just holding that golden pocket pretty much. All right. That's pretty much the update here, guys and girls. Looking for Bitcoin to basically reclaim this monthly open right here. I'm going to go scan through all of our altcoins and update some of those in the group. Today is Tuesday. What do we have? I think we got a classroom or something. We got something going on in the trading group too. Tomorrow is our next big market update, exclusive for members only. So once again, anybody interested in joining, the leading crypto Discord. The link is in my bio here. We go through how to identify all these ranges, key levels, point of controls, NPOCs, everything you need to know, tools, resources, order flow, open interest. You got altcoin updates just from me, read only, so it doesn't get spammed out with a bunch of talk from other people. You get read only here, Bitcoin updates, all our live recordings. You can actually go in and watch Sunday's live recording from 2 days ago. That was actually really good. Walked us right into this exact move and what's to expect after. Really good there. Academy, if you know nothing about trading this market, looking at charts, building charts, this is going to get you set up and basically caught up and up to speed. Worth its weight in gold, the Academy alone. You got order flow specialist, like I said, starting up. And then we also, for anybody that actually likes to read up on books, harmonics, Fibonacci, everything is in here. This is basically Magic Internet Money's entire library, or at least the ones that he put in here that's most relevant at the moment. Also, if you're not following Magic Internet Money, give him a follow. Like I said, he and I partnered up and we may have this together, but amazing analyst, amazing trader, literally can walk you through Bitcoin's every move blindfolded. But yeah, all these books in here are all downloadable for every member. So once again, extreme value coming out of this Discord here. So check that out. Links in the bio if anybody's interested. Otherwise, I'll be live here again. I might do another live stream tonight. Who knows? We had a good time last night about 11 o'clock. But aside from that, we know the levels to watch, right? On a short end note here, lose 36.2. Right, lose that 36.2 closing basis, 4-hour candles, daily candle. More than likely, we're coming back down to the low, and then some. Right, you got that doomsday level, pull it back up. This was our volume target that we had targeted from the $52,000 high back at Christmas Eve. We actually looked for this area, so not this specific level, but these two. This one did not get met. Doesn't have to get met, but it does have a high statistic that these the NPOCs do get retested. So. There is a couple others that were never retested, so this doesn't have to play out. And this really only becomes really relevant once we lose 36.2 if we do. Right, so 36.2, you lose that, and we're probably having a rough time to the downside. To the upside, short term, we want to see this monthly open regained, right? Boom, boom, 38K, 38.2, let's call it. That's going to get us out of this historic range that we've been in since the last couple of days here, but it's a historic range from last year. It's going to get us back above this golden pocket. It's going to get us back above this monthly open, which is where we want to be living anyways. From there, you want to see a little bit of a higher high come in from this region. Realistically, that would take out more than likely this 24-month key level. And from there, you can really start looking up. But first step is get above that monthly open. And from there, the altcoins will probably have a little bit of a breather for a bit. Hope you all enjoyed this update. I know I did. Hope to see you all either in the trading group or here again tomorrow. Until next time, everybody, cheers.